All right, today I'm working on a 2001 Nissan Quest with a 3.3, and the transmission is the RE4 F04A. All right, so what's going on with this car is the customer had come in, which was referred by a wholesale account, and when he came in, he says, you know, he's driving the car and it seems like the car has no power. Takes off very heavy from a start. So, you know, right away I'm thinking, all right, the car's in limp mode. So the manager goes out, drives it, confirms that. We get the scan tool out, and we got one transmission code, a P1760 overrun clutch solenoid circuit. All right, so this, by the definition of this code, solenoid circuit, we're dealing with an electrical problem. All right, so when we deal with electrical problem, you can either have a problem with the computer, with wire, or with the solenoid itself. Now, we had to check this thing out because we had to give him a price on what it would be to fix it. I have the solenoid pack coming, which is coming in my overnight delivery, so tomorrow morning I'll show you what it looks like. But the solenoid is reading open, which we're gonna ohm this thing together, and I'll just show it to you. And I just also wanted to add that you'll see this solenoid pack. This is a 2001, so this is considered an early solenoid pack. And this solenoid, this made it easy to check because it has a very long lead on it. All right, it comes up, it goes in, you know, to the bottom of the transmission, and the lead comes all the way up on top of the transmission. So we basically just took the airbox off, we split the connector apart, and we were able to ohm the solenoid, because that's the easiest thing to do. And of course, the solenoid ohmed open, which I will show you. And also, as we were checking the car, which I wanted to add, we recorded the code, we cleared the code, and then the code came right back. Code would not clear. Another indication of an electrical problem when the code comes right back. All right, so what I have now is up on my computer through ShopKey Pro or Mitchell On Demand. I have a wiring diagram that we're going to go over. So this solenoid pack consists of shift A and B, the overrun clutch, which is what we're getting the code for, the TCC. Sometimes they may call that the damper clutch control solenoid, and the electronic pressure control solenoid, or the EPC. All right, but the shift A and B and overrun clutch solenoid should ohm exactly the same, on-off solenoids. Okay, and that ohm should be roughly about 25 ohms, which again we'll show on the ohm meter when we're ohming the solenoid. All right, the TCC solenoid, when I had the one of my techs that does the electrical work here, he's the one that checked the car out. The TCC solenoid, or damper clutch control solenoid, as it may be called, I think he said it was about 12 ohms, which is okay. That's usually what it is. And the EPC was about 5 ohms. That's always low ohm solenoid, pulse on and off. All right, so I have the solenoid pack coming, again, which I'm going to show you tomorrow morning. But what I want to do now is just take you into the office where I have the wiring diagram up, and just, I actually printed one out, but this is so small, you're not going to be able to see it because I can't even see it. So I have it up on the computer, and it's, you know, pretty big, and just going to go over the wire colors and what we're going to check. I'm all set up over there with the ohm meter. I have my negative lead to the battery ground, and then we're just going to ohm the 3 solenoids and look at the different values. I want to ohm it, the 2 shift solenoids A and B are going to ohm okay. Then when I ohm the overrun clutch, it's going to go to, the scale's going to go to K, because I have it on order. It'll be like 25 K ohms. But what I'm going to do when the decimal point moves, but what I'm going to do is when we ohm, then when we re-ohm shift A and B, I'm going to hit the range button to hold that value so the decimal point doesn't move, and then you're going to see it's going to go to OL, open, you know, out limits, open limits. So we're going to do that. All right, so I'm going to set up, I'm going to bring everything inside into the office, and we're going to look at the wiring diagram very quickly. It should just take not long at all because it's all set up. Just show you the 3 we're going to check, and then over to the car. We'll ohm the solenoids, And then tomorrow morning, I want to just show you what the solenoid pack looks like with the long lead on it. The later solenoid packs don't have a lead because you just pop it up through the case. There's a clip that you got to pull out and push the lead down because we got to drop the valve body to get the solenoid pack out. So you take the clip out, you got to pull the lead down and pull the solenoid pack out. Swap it over on the valve body, feed it up back through, and then reattach it on top of the transmission. Now the later solenoid packs don't have that long lead, it was eliminated. So it just pops right through and then the transmission plugs right in way down at the bottom of the case. Little tougher to get to, maybe easier at that point, maybe if the computer is more accessible to check it at the computer instead of, trying to, unless you raise it up, get it from the bottom. But either way, probably a little harder than it is to do this one. So let me get set up over by the computer and we'll take a look at the wiring diagram. I will be right back. All right, so let's just take a look at the whole wiring diagram and then I'll get a little closer here in case you guys can't see it that well. But right here is the overrun clutch solenoid. This is our problem. And then right next to, and that is a gray wire. Now this is the lead coming off of the solenoid pack, and here is the engine side, the harness side that plugs into the solenoid pack. All right, so here's the gray one, which is our problem solenoid. Shift solenoid A is green, and shift solenoid B is yellow, and all these three values should all be the same. All right, and of course we're getting good ohms readings here and here, and this one we're not. All right, so just in case you can't see it that well, all right, and just real quick, TCC solenoid here, line pressure control solenoid there. And let me just see if I can kind of zoom in on that box on the bottom there. Just in case the colors aren't really showing up or the wording's not showing up. Okay, I'm hoping you guys can see that. So here again is the is the overrun clutch solenoid. All right, this is our problem, shift solenoid A and B. All right, so we're going to be checking the gray, the green, and the yellow wire. All right, so now I'm going to set up over by the car. I want to show you the connector because you'll basically just be watching the ohm meter because I kind of got to lean down into the car to ohm out the solenoids. So let me give you a shot of the connector, and then we'll go ahead and set it up on the ohm meter and ohm out those solenoids, and I'll talk it through what I'm doing, the wire colors and stuff like that. All right, so give me 2 seconds to set up over there. I'll be right back. Okay, here is the solenoid connector, and here is the other side, if you can see that. All right, so this is the one we're going to be checking. This has the male pins, so I'll show you what I'm going to be using to check this thing. All right, I'm going to be checking the gray, green, and yellow wire, the two shift solenoids, the overrun clutch solenoid. And right now I have my negative lead to the ohm meter on the negative battery. And I'm going to be using this, actually, little wire lead here, to probe the solenoids to check the ohms. All right, so I'm going to get you on the voltmeter, and then I'll talk through what I'm doing, and you can see the values as I check each one. All right, so again, that is the connector. This actually is the solenoid pack. I'm going to show you this tomorrow. I'm getting a new one, OE new one, tomorrow. All right, let me get you set up on the ohm meter, and then we'll go ahead and ohm these out. Okay, so I'm going to take the positive lead, and I'm going to go into first the yellow wire, which is a shift solenoid. All right, we got 24.5 ohms, which is about what they are, about 25 ohms. Okay, next one, another shift solenoid, 24.6. And now we're going to go to the problem, the overrun clutch. And that's jumping around, but also I'm on the K scale because this is in the auto feature. So you can see the decimal point had moved 1 notch. So what I want to do now, okay, we're going to take this back. We're going to go back onto the shift solenoid. Let me just get it back on there. Wait a second. Okay, and I'm going to hit the range button to keep the decimal point where it should be. And we're going to check the other shift solenoid. Okay, and now we're going to check again the overrun clutch solenoid, and it shows open. All right, so that is our problem right there. All right, so what I'll do is, again, I'm getting the solenoid pack OE in my night delivery. So tomorrow morning, I'll have the camera set up, we'll have the ohm meter set up on the bench, and we'll just ohm out the solenoid pack, the new one, on the bench, and confirm that all three are the same. It'll be good to go. And then when the guys get in, I'll be working with them to show them what bolts and stuff to take out of the valve body, because all of them don't have to come out. Certain ones have to come out so the valve body will drop down. Other ones hold the valve body together. All right, so that is all for now, and I will catch up with you guys in the morning with the new solenoid pack. All right, back with you this morning, and I unpacked the order that I got last night, and I ended up getting the incorrect solenoid pack delivered. So remember when I was saying there were two, the one with the long lead, which we have, and the one with no lead, that this just pops up right through the transmission. You put the clip in here so it doesn't fall back down, and then the harness plugs in right at the transmission. So this is the other solenoid pack for the Nissan. And this you would find in, I have the RE4 F04A. This is for more than likely an RE4 F04B, which you would find like maybe in an 04 Nissan Altima. All right, but this is what I had got from TransStar. It is OE, but it is just the incorrect solenoid pack. So this is what they look like. The other one looks like this too, with the exception of the much longer lead on it. So I just got to get a hold of my supplier, my rep, I should say, when they open, and see if they have the correct one. So I'm kind of, I mean, it's not a big deal. I have a little time with this, but I'm kind of glad I got this also, because now I can show you the other solenoid pack, which is what I was speaking about with, again, with no lead on it. And now you'll see when I get the correct one with the very long lead on it. All right, so this is it for now until I get the correct one, and then we're gonna go ahead and ohm it out again on the bench once I have the correct solenoid pack. So I will be back as soon as I have the other solenoid pack in hand. So I'll get back with you guys shortly. Okay, so I have this valve body on the bench. We'll be able to swap out the solenoid pack. And then after we do that, I want to give you a close-up shot of the valve body to show you what bolts have to come out in order just to drop the valve body out. When you drop the pan, this is what you're going to see. You got a lot of bolts here, so only a handful of them have to come out to drop out the valve body. All right, also I want to show you the correct position of the manual valve, how it sits when it's in the car, because I'll show you when I give you a close-up shot. It can go either way, but if the manual valve is in a certain way, I don't think the bolts will line up. So I'm going to show you how it sits in the car when the valve body is installed in the transmission. All right, so let's get started here. So I'm going to get these bolts out. I'm going to take these out, and then we'll go ahead and do the EPC solenoid. Okay. We do have two different length bolts. All right, when you take the solenoid pack out, we got a little bit longer one that's going to go here. And the threads are not there. I mean, the threads are there just like all the others, so not really sure why that particular one is longer. All right, let's get that solenoid pack off the valve body. Okay, here's your temp sensor. Now let's take these 4 bolts out. Here we got different lengths on these also. So just kind of note where they go. It's pretty obvious of where these would go. All right. Now we have 2 for the EPC solenoid. Wow. A bit of a longer bolt. So you got your ground wire you got to hook up. Get the bolt out. Okay, this little protector there, I guess. All right. Now I'm going to take the EPC solenoid out. So here's a little piece here that just came out from there like that. All right, so solenoid pack is off. And remember what I said, some of these things carry a spring when you pull the solenoid out that you got to watch for. Okay, this one has it. All right, let me give you a So just be careful that, like I said, some may have it, some may not have it. All right, so just be careful. You know, a lot of times when you take the 2 bolts out, it might push back on you. But again, just kind of take it out slow and see if it's there, see if it's not there. All right, let's back out of this now. Whoops, wrong way. Okay. All right, let's get the new solenoid pack. Move these here. I'll show you what this kit contains, the solenoid pack contains. All right, here's our brand new OE solenoid pack. So let's just put this aside for the moment, and let's take a look. All right, so when the solenoid pack is on, and we're gonna hang this back up, the valve body, hang it back up into the transmission. So you gotta feed this through. You got an O-ring here and pop it up through the case. Then you're gonna have a little wire clip that holds there. And I believe they give you a new one in the kit here. I got pan bolts. I got a washer, which is probably for the drain plug of the pan. So let's see. So we got new pan bolts.
Okay, and yeah, there's probably a washer for the drain plug, and here's this little wire clip I wanted to show you. So that's what that looks like. All right, and that goes right on there once it pops up through the case. So this way you can't drop back down, and the O-ring to keep the oil from coming out. Okay. Let me see if I can maybe get a block of wood or something to put under there so it holds it up. Just give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find something. I got a little block of wood under there that's hopefully hold it steady. All right, so let's get some grease on these O-rings here. Actually a couple of weeks later that I'm filming this, because we couldn't get in touch with the customer, the owner of the car, or the shop, or the shop either, but finally somebody called. Okay. Okay. Okay, there we go. Those three were all the same size. Okay, and there. All right. A little bit of a longer one goes there. Okay. But give me 1 second. I will be right back. Okay, all right, so let's get these tight here. So I'm going to tighten these to about 85 inch-pounds. Okay. Swing it around this way. Put these in. We have the two long ones here. And the shorter ones. And then this one, of course, would stay out because this goes into the case of the trans. Okay, I want to try to keep that hole lined up. Let's tighten this down. All right, so let's
Now the
install this EPC solenoid. Okay, have our spring. Okay. Alright. Get the ground wire. A little curve here. Another smaller. A little bit. Okay. I just want to be careful with this wire here. Okay. Let's get the bottom one. Okay. All right, so our solenoid pack is installed. Everything is tight. All right, so what I want to do now is just get a close-up of the valve body and just go over what bolts to come out and how the manual valve should sit. Well, the manual valve, you're going to see, you know, the opening is going to face in. Of course, it can go, you know, it could face if you drop it out, the thing could spin. So it could have wound up this way, that's where you think it might go, but it goes actually like that. The cutout that hooks up to the linkage in the trans faces in. All right, so that's that. And now let's just kind of go over the bolts that come out. And then I'm going to give you a shot of underneath the car because the spring is going to drop out and there's a couple of seals that you got to make sure stay in place. All right, so let me just switch angles and get more on top of the valve body. Okay, so to drop out this valve body, you got these bolts here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got only 2 in the filter. Okay, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and 13 here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, so those are the bolts that come out in order to drop the valve body out. Now I'm going to set up underneath the car, give you a shot of with the valve body out, and just show you a spring is going to fall out of an accumulator, no big deal. And then there are seals that you got to make sure do not fall out of place either. And incidentally, right here is the pressure regulator valve. When I get these transmissions in, and sometimes these things are busted up pretty good and this valve is stuck, you know, sometimes I kind of judge that specify if I'll be able to clean this valve body, because sometimes this is a little bit tough to clean, but if this valve is free, then yeah, generally it's not a problem with the valve body. Okay, so let me get set up under the car, and I will be right. All right, I shot the valve body out, and again, when the valve body comes down, you're going to have an accumulator spring that goes here that is going to fall out, and that is right here. All right, so you just get a little trans gel, put it on the end of the spring. It should stay in, no problem. All right, you also have a total of 4 seals in the case. You have one here, one here, and one here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this one here had fallen out. Now, these seals are all the same. All right, and that's going to go right near a little trans gel. So in case a couple of them fall out and you find them laying in the pan or whatever, they're all the same, not to worry. You can just put them back. All right, and there's another accumulator here. So this accumulator, the spring goes in first and then the piston, and this accumulator piston goes in first and then the spring. But let me give you kind of like a close-up shot of this real quick. And just to recap, because again, it's been a couple of weeks for me since I worked on this. 2001 Nissan Quest, and we had code P1760, overrun clutch solenoid circuit. So, of course, we checked everything at the solenoid pack, and we found that to be open. Just to give you a little closer up shot, again, the spring will go in here. You got 3 seals, 1, 2, 3. That one is missing. I'm going to put that one back, and I'm going to just go a little more. And there is the other accumulator here, and the other seal is there, which is still in. All right, so just make sure all that stuff is in place. The spring is going to fall out for sure, and then just watch those seals. All right, so that is all. I thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and we will see you next one.